Today we are joined by the team from Brawler Bearz, and they are going to give us some insights into their project. We've got Kyle Loves Tacos here, longtime MVHQ member. And just real quick, before we jump in, I want to touch on something because I like to dig in a little bit and be at least slightly knowledgeable about the people that I'm going to be interviewing. And when I pulled up your guys' some documents, I saw your mission statement, and it opens up with that the founding team of Brawler Bearz is created from three Web3 enthusiasts meeting in Discord on a previous project, working together, degenning and discussing NFTs, ultimately becoming friends. And that is like the origin story of MVHQ as well. I love that. It's beautiful. So as soon as I read that, I was like, all right, I don't need to read anymore. I just need to get these guys in a talk, in a chat, so we can chop it up and figure out everything kind of more personally. So welcome, you guys. If you want, go ahead and if you want to just do a kind of a brief introduction, just kind of let us know about yourselves, and then either how you got involved with the project or how you got into NFTs, because we love a good origin story.
You want to go first, Cody? Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first. So just a little bit about myself. So yeah, my name's Cody. I got into Web3 late last year. And this is where I met Scott. I initially was kind of always on the outskirts of it, looking in, and didn't really take the dive into Web3. There was one day my daughter wanted a unicorn NFT. As I was, like I said, I was looking at them, searching it, didn't really want to make the dive yet, and she wanted something with a unicorn. Scott at the time was starting a Unifriends project, which were all unicorns, 3D based art. And so I found that, and I jumped in and met Scott and Damien, the artist, and he was also artist for Unifriends as well. And that's kind of where it all started. I got rugged a few times, but I think I've learned all my lessons. I think probably not, so here I am now. And so it's been a little bit of a learning curve, but I've definitely learned a lot over the half of a year, almost a year now, of being in the Web3 space. So a little bit more about myself on the Web2 side. I am a program manager for a software company. I do own a 3D printing business kind of on the side. What else? I think that's all about me.
Avid Pokemoner?
Well, yeah, I'm a big Pokemon fan, so you'll probably see a lot of Pokemon emojis, and if you can't tell in my PFP there, I'm actually holding the Pokemon card, so yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. It's funny too, because I have a 4-year-old daughter, and she wanted a unicorn NFT very badly as well. And I did trigger on that one, and it ended up being very, very lucrative. So that was something I connect with personally. That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, and so I'll do mine. So I'm Scott, the dev and one of the co-founders of Brawler Bearz. As Cody had mentioned, I previously founded a project called Unifriends, which is still existing. That community is very strong. That is a utility-first project as well, similar to what Brawler Bearz is going to be. I have been building on ETH since 2016. I ICO'd back in 2016 a coin called Lunar. It was supposed to be a decentralized Wikipedia. Economically, it didn't work out at the time, so that kind of crashed and burned end of 2018. Took a break from the crypto space for a little bit and hopped back into NFTs in 2021 with NBA Top Shot. I created momentranks.com and the Owners Club or OTM NFT, Own the Moment. I'm actually working with them on another platform for NFL. They actually just recently released a game called Rumble for NFL All Day. So I've been pretty involved in the flow side of things. But in the meanwhile, I also dabbled in ETH. And now I'm kind of leading the charge with Brawler Bearz on the dev side. So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, professionally, I'm a principal engineer. I was formerly working at PayPal, and I've worked at NASA. So as a full stack developer. So I have a pretty good background technically speaking. So I'll just leave it at that.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, this community was founded as a Top Shot community originally, so I'm sure many of us have used some of your tools, man. Moment Ranks and OTM are both pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, kudos.
Yeah, when I had found out originally that he had created those tools, I was pretty excited. I think that's pretty huge for us. So
Yeah, I think my favorite thing out of that was Moment Ranks Play. That was like the first fantasy platform that you could use your actual Top Shot moments for, and because the game that they had. Well, I was also a huge Top Shot collector. I was in like courtside and had a massive collection. Obviously, that didn't turn out as well, but I had my fun there and built a lot of cool stuff and learned a lot of cool things. So I don't regret it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, early Top Shot was missing a lot of utility and a lot of things to do with the moments. So yeah,
Right.
community building on that was kind of the whole essence of Web3, right? It's like, well, the community wants to do these things, so let's get building.
Yeah, they done some cool stuff with the Flash challenges, though. I thought that was a great ad. However many months ago that was, but.
Oh man, I'm so out of the loop. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have no clue what has happened in the past 8 months on Top Shot.
You probably haven't missed much.
Sure. Well, Kyle, do you want to jump up here and give an intro?
Yeah, I don't really need to give much of one. My name's Kyle. I've kind of known some of you for a while. I kind of work also quite a bit. Been around since Foxy's launched, April of 2021, kind of helping out with some projects and stuff, getting to do fun stuff, helping with collabs, helping with reveals, etc. Really excited to help out with these guys too. I've known the artist for a little more than a year now, I believe. He's really cool, really passionate, and I love what he's doing with this. I'm a huge pixel artist fan, or like pixel art fan, and what Days is doing is top notch. It's really cool. Like the shadowing is really fucking precise. He knows where to leave like the negative space, etc. It's really cool. So I'm going to be doing collabs, probably doing spaces, just doing all the fun stuff while these guys do all the hard work. So I'm pretty excited to be helping out.
Hey, yeah, I love that. You got the easy roll, man. I love that. So yeah, that's a good point to start on, because the art, I love pixel art myself. I dabble a little bit here and there, and I agree with your take on kind of like the shading, the banding, the anti-aliasing. Just the pixel art looks good. It looks nice, and the pixel map that I posted here, posted up in office hours chat, is awesome too. It just looks like something I want to jump into. Quick reminder for everyone listening live before we proceed. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to drop those in the guest questions chat, and I'll make sure to try our best to get those answered for you. But yeah, let's start with the art. So talk to me about the artist, the art, and just kind of dropped the MVHQ trait. Ugh, that is dope with the hat too. Incredible. Yeah, I would not think that you'd be able to get our logo into, what is that, like 8 pixels by 8 by 8 pixels? Crazy. Bravo. So yeah, just talk to me about the art a little bit. Talk to me about the artist, and just sort of the visual direction of the project.
Yeah, I can take that. So Damien, not unfortunately, but his mother's birthday is today, so he couldn't make. He's hosting a party for her. But I can fill in. I met Damien actually during my days at Own the Moment, and he was the person that created some 3D art there. And I actually found him in a random Discord for designers, and I was just like trying to find someone to create NFT art. This was like mid 2021, so it was I didn't really know where to look. But we also created a 3D generative collection together, and he's worked at a lot of startups as a visual designer and illustrator. But actually, his true passions in NFTs were with pixel art, and he really was inspired by Kaiju Kings for this collection. And I think that's where a lot of the foundations came from. And so, yeah, I mean, he said he liked doing 3D, but I see when he's working on this art, like how much faster and how much more fun he has with it. So I think he actually likes 2D pixel much better. So yeah, that's kind of the foundations there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the look of it. Pixel art is fun to do and mess around with, but it is hard to actually have like a nice finished product that comes out as clean as this. It's not an easy task. So cool. All right, well, let's move on. And if you could just kind of give me kind of like a zoomed out general overview of the project, project and kind of what you hope to achieve with it.
You want to take that, Cody? You want me to do it?
I'll start, and you can fill in if you want to do it that way.
Go ahead, man.
So, okay, cool. Yeah. So, high level, I guess we have a 6,000 supply. All the art will be animated. And essentially at release date, which our mint date is September 16th, we'll have the web-based kind of tactics, quest training, gaming. And that's what you'll see in that map, right? So in that map, if you were to actually go to our website, some of those locations and hideouts for each one of the factions, and I haven't mentioned the factions yet, but essentially all these bears, we have these 4 factions, and those are Geoscapes, Iron Bears, Tech Heads, and Pawpunks. And these all have different hideouts within the map. And you can interact with those, and you can go into the training area and things like that and kind of get lost in the website per se. And so you could take a look at that. That's open now. Of course, when you get into the training area, it's going to say coming soon. But ultimately what that'll do is allow you to do some quests, and we'll have a dashboard for, some form of staking to gain XP and training. And what you'll use this token for, this credits as you get for training and questing, you'll be able to purchase items. And so you'll have a base bear at mint, and you'll be able to purchase items and dynamically update your NFT with these items. And so as you buy different upgrades, and you can get a rare sword per se, or some sort of item, you can upgrade your NFT with that. And so we'll have kind of a tournament-based seasons, and then within those seasons you battle your bears, and that's what the kind of the high-level plan for that. And so of course we see Brawler Bearz as a very high brand potential. And so we're kind of taking that route. I think that's ultimately we're all Brawler Bearz is backed by a business, and we want to turn it into a brand. And so we're working with merch, which is Juniper, and getting a sample and creation of that. I think we have that all in the works. We also have with somebody in our community that does jewelry, and so they're making kind of a dog tag, a Brawler Bearz edition, which is pretty neat. We've seen a couple samples and images of that lately, so that's actually pretty cool. On top of that, me and Damien, I think we're all 3 big gamers. I know me and Damien have some passion of always wanting to create a board game, and that's what we're doing. And so there'll be a lucky few of people's NFTs that'll be incorporated into the game, and of course we'll have. We'll incorporate some, expansion packs and things like that to get a few other lucky members of their NFTs incorporated into the game. So that's just a little bit. I think there's obviously more. We consider ourselves kind of the utility maxis, and so we're always coming up with other ideas how we can show value, to our soon-to-be holders and things like that. So Scott, feel free to jump in and cover anything else I might have missed.
Yeah, I think you gave a good summary. I would say, our first pass at this is I guess some of the inspiration was when I grew up, I played SNES and played a lot of MMORPGs and did a lot of click and play adventure kind of games on old school computers, where that was before we have the Fallout style type games. And a lot of the direction of our first phase here is to kind of simulate that, right? So we have this map, you click on the Hangout, you go do stuff. And there's going to be a lot of Easter eggs in there as we build it out, and each Hangout, as Cody mentioned, belongs to a faction, and we're really going to build out this faction ecosystem where we want almost like mini DAOs to form, and we're going to give control to how the factions kind of evolve based on how the faction communities exist. And so you join a faction, and you're actually given a soulbound token when you go to claim your faction, and it's tied to your wallet, and everything is token gated from that. So what we hope is kind of a very cool ecosystem within our ecosystem, where the factions will really feel like people that join factions. We want people to really feel like they're part of them, and they control the outcome. Maybe it's something like deciding what the ranking system is in your faction, or who your leader is, or maybe what discount, or maybe the leader has some funds allocated to them where they can say make decisions on art or future Easter eggs and stuff. And so we really want to, we as the core team want to be arbiters, but we also want to give control to the community, and particularly in each faction to kind of set the tone for the faction. So I guess that's what I'll add.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. It kind of lets you maintain control of the ship creatively, so to speak, for the entire project, and then kind of let the factions do what they want, sort of community sourced. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, I appreciate it. That's a lot of details. So a lot to unpack there. I'm not really sure where to start. So I guess the thing that interests me most, I guess I'll just jump straight there. So I heard in kind of the overview talk that we're headed towards battling the Bearz, right? Brawler Bearz. So I want to focus on the, I guess, PvP aspect a little bit and just kind of see what the gameplay is going to look like, if it's turn-based or interactive or dynamic in any way, and then like kind of what are the incentives to compete, what are the rewards, and then like how's it set up? Is it everyone for themselves or will there be team battles? So let's just dive into the PvP components.
Yeah, sure. So day one, the first thing to know about your bear when you mint, so you get your base bear, and he has some stats on him. He has endurance, he has strength, he has luck and intelligence, and he has XP and a level X correlated to the XP. And you also have things like clothing or whatever traits that we're going to have. But then another aspect is that you can equip armor, face armor, weapons, miscellaneous items, and some other things. And those will be used in the underground. So the whole backstory here is that the Bearz Society, they went through a famine about 30 years ago. There was wars that broke out. People were dying. Factions started to emerge because there was no centralized government, localized government, centralized governments. And over the course of a decade, these four factions came to rule Neo City, which is like the last remaining city in this story. And the leaders of each city came together almost like Hunger Games-esque to create the underground. And so the underground is this battle arena where instead of wars going between the factions, in arbitrary places, they meet and convene to all battle in the underground instead. And so you as a person that mints a bear will basically train up your bear, you will equip it with weapons, or armor, and then you will, when the season starts, you will put him into the Brawler Bearz arena. And the first, I'd say the short-term play is that it's going to be more passive. Me, I'm not a big like every day go do something kind of guy, so I wanted kind of two components to it where you can be more passive, go do what you want to do, submit it to the arena, and he will battle and you will earn things. And then there's a more involved version where maybe there's a daily task that you can do and maybe you get more XP or something along those lines. But the game is, I guess you could, if you're familiar with like Raid Party, where you formed a raid group and you battled some dungeon bosses, it's kind of similar in that regard. Like it's more passive, but we're going to evolve that as we kind of grow and make it more like a turn-based thing.
Awesome. Cool. I love that. Okay. So what would be the what sort of rewards are players going to be getting? Are these cosmetics? Are these tokens? What will be the spoils from victory in the underground?
Yeah. So, I mean, what's very unique and novel about our NFT, and I haven't seen another project do this. I've seen them do it off chain, but we are a completely on-chain metadata project where, for example, if you equip, let's say you buy a weapon, every weapon that you buy or you have is an ERC 1155 item that you can actually attach to your NFT. And when you equip it, it actually travels with that NFT. And so, in the beginning, I won't say how many items there are going to be, but we're going to be creating new content, weekly or, bi-weekly. And we're going to form kind of like a battle pass collection, if you will, per season. So what will happen is, so this is kind of tying into how the business model will work or how we get continual revenue. just so we can continue the project. We're going every Brawler Bear season will basically create a battle pass, which is almost like if you're familiar with like, I don't know, Fortnite or Clash or Valorant, they have like skins in the game and they have, cool things that you can buy. We're going to create that exact same ecosystem, but with NFTs and ERC 1155 items, and all of them will be equipable on your NFT. So if you win in the underground, maybe you get credit, which is our utility token. With credit, you can then go buy, a new background that's animated, maybe something that's more trending like Mimi that we've created for fun. Or maybe it's like a weapon that's a legendary weapon that, it's practically a one of one at that point. And you can equip that. And maybe that's what you win from the underground. And then we're also going to have ETH prizes. So, people love their ETH, and we'll be, putting out those kind of rewards as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I was kind of on the edge of my seat until you said ETH prizes, because it sounds awesome. Honestly, it sounds cool. And I have some other questions about it being on chain and dynamically updating, because that is a big thing. But at the core of it, if the game is getting weapons to battle, and then your reward for battle, and it's just getting more weapons, that's okay. It's a fine game loop if the game is very, very fun to play, like exhilarating experience. And it doesn't sound like a passive sort of stake and play experience is going to satisfy that itch. So you'd end up with a cycle where you're just creating more and more things with less and less value. So ETH prizes. But I mean, I think that would be a thing to expand upon, kind of as you go, figure out if there's a way to kind of pump the money back into the economy where you kind of have an experience to someone that's like, you've earned X amount of credits, right? And that's, that's $15. Like, you could sell it, or would you rather do this thing? And if you can convince someone that your thing is worth more than them selling their token, you kind of have the whole tokenomic ecosystem dream, right? Okay, cool. Now, the battle passes, are these are going to be for each season, and I'm guessing these are both cosmetics and things that will impact your gameplay, or is your success in the underground not really determined by your equipment, like cosmetics and stuff?
So the battle pass is basically, so when you go to, so right now the underground graphic isn't clickable, but when it is, what you'll see is kind of an interface that I think we were thinking it would be like an elevator, and then you like put in a pass to make you go down, right? So the battle pass is something you would buy per season. It would be like, maybe, I don't know, we haven't really talked about prices, but we don't want it to be expensive. Say it's like 0.01 ETH or something like this to get the battle pass. And that would give you access to actually enter into the underground. And then what you get as well with it is basically DLC, like content that ends up being ERC 1155 items. And basically, it would only be available to people that had bought the battle pass. So there's kind of some scarcity included in there, just based on who ends up paying to get into the underground. I don't know if that answered your question exactly, but
it does, and it gives me a lot of more questions. But that's okay. That's good. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Really quick, we have a guest question here from Corruption. So he's actually got a few. So I'm going to break this apart. You kind of already answered his first question. It's is the game going to be a staking game exclusively, or will it be something to play with a mouse and keyboard and controller? It sounds like the intention is for a more passive style of gameplay with potential for daily tasks, as a sort of extra incentive. Cool. And then his next question is, will it be gas intensive? And that was something I kind of hinted at a second ago, want to circle back on. So we're talking on-chain, dynamically updating NFTs in a layer 1 battling system. How are you going to do it, man? Talk to me.
So it's not just layer 1. So that's the first thing. We have layer 2. We're on Polygon. Now everything related to the NFT that's on chain is L1. You will have to pay to equip, you will have to pay to unequip. But we think these are things that you don't do that often. Whereas once you stake, it actually stakes it to an L2. So basically what happened, and we also do a hard stake, but it doesn't remove ownership. So this is very, very special. I'm actually stealing some inspiration from CyberKongs on this one. The owl.eth created this lock registry mechanism where you can stake, quote unquote, and the NFT gets locked to your wallet. And it basically acts the same way as, a hard stake without removing ownership and sending your NFT off. So we have that idea, and when you stake, what actually happens is the data of the stake gets sent to Polygon through, they call it state sync, but it's basically a way for L1 and L2 in this case to communicate with each other. And so you stake on L1, maybe it costs $3 to $4 per token. I know it's not cheap, but then when you get to the L2, everything, including questing, the training, the underground, all of this stuff will be gasless. And I've already done this before I've created a gasless marketplace using Biconomy, which is basically a framework that allows you to do gasless transactions through a gas station network. Sandbox is using this. So we're going to have the exact same system on the L2 side of things. So all you'll have to do for training and questing and these kind of things is just sign a transaction, and that's it. And we handle all the gas. You won't need Matic. We will handle all that for you.
Beautiful. I love that. That's fantastic. I love, I'm a fan of novel mechanics and, smart contract usage and stuff. I think it's heavily overlooked and underutilized. So yeah, that lock registry system sounds really cool. I like that. And then, kind of the front end, I'm guessing, will it kind of be presented in a way that's, more clean, kind of like Cool Cats, where you never really interact with anything other than that first message sign. Everything is on Polygon, and they pay the gas, and you don't really see that any of it is a blockchain transaction. You kind of just click around. So, okay, that's awesome.
Exactly.
Man. I love that. Exactly. That's beautiful.
I mean, you'll still probably sign like per thing. Like it's basically what they call a meta transaction. So you're still performing the action on your behalf. So whatever it may be, let's say it's like I want to quest my one bear for X amount of days and receive this XP. You still sign that. The difference is that we take that and then it goes through a proxy contract. We forward it and then pay the gas on your behalf. So it's like it's still your transaction. You're still signing. It's just that you don't pay the gas.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's more like an Ether Orcs type situation where,
exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Okay, cool. Moving on. Next question. He asks, Corruption asks, does owning multiple have a gameplay incentive or just a collectible investment purpose? I think we've seen plenty of collections where holding multiple either made you a god or, later on holding multiple became unplayable in the case of something like Crypto Raiders, where it just is not sensible to try and own multiple. So what is your take on whales?
I would say, we're optimized. I mean, the way that our mint is structured is optimizing for unique holders, though, we know that people want to hold. I mean, so I'd say everyone likes whales, but, but I would say we haven't added any game mechanics that would be in the form of a team or a squadron. We've talked about it. I mean, me and Damien have talked about it quite a bit. Maybe, in the beginning it's PvP or, single bear versus single bear. But maybe towards, maybe season 2, it ends up being more of a team affair. And then maybe there's something that's even bigger, like faction warfare. So it's not out of the question that if you are a whale, that you'll be able to formulate teams or, either way, you get to enter as many bears that you own into the underground. So if you have more, the better chances of winning, but you also have to pay, per entry. So, there's a give and take there.
Awesome. Love that. Love the sound of faction battles too. Those are just two words that sound really nice next. And then last question, he asks if the game will be interactive, group play, proximity, voice chat, etc. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, I think when we move, so we haven't decided if we're going to go MMORPG, kind of like an open world, like Pokemon-esque style game or Zelda style game. I think that is the direction we will probably head. Realistically, I think that's what most people would expect with this kind of thing. But, I would say I don't have a clear answer for that yet. So we're still kind of planning out what we're going to do. But I'm definitely open to that kind of open world style game.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So moving on from guest questions back to some stuff that has been, on my mind since you said it. So the factions, right? So let's take a second and kind of walk through the factions. If you could tell me which faction is the best and why. And then kind of let me know, because you kind of mentioned this idea of them being mini DAOs, right? So I just am curious, more examples of things that they could vote on, have agency over, and then how they sort of get voting rights and stuff like that.
Okay. I mean, Cody, do you want to I'll take a break if you want to go over the factions. And
yeah, I'll go over the faction. You can go over the tech stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have the 4 factions. Actually, we have 5 to be honest. But yet the one is kind of what we call nomad. So if you come into our Discord and you verify yourself, you automatically get a nomad. So anybody without a faction is going to be considered a nomad. And so those are kind of the wanderers of Neo City. What we call them is the Bears without a cause, which is kind of fun. So each one of the factions kind of have their own lure, and they also have the perks, right? So I'm all for geoscapes. I think they're the best. We're definitely outnumbered, but geoscapes are the ones that are with nature, right? And so we also, being a geoscape, we get a boost in our, I believe it's HP or health stat. And so depending on your faction that you're in, you'll get a boost in that particular stat. I can't remember all of which one's which. I'm assuming like Iron Bears would be strength and things like that. So so that is, the factions allow you to get those stat boosts. And of course, within the Discord, we'll have some certain things where we push communication between factions, and we've done this in the past and before in previous projects, and it was always a lot of fun. The faction thing is always a lot of fun, and we'll have leaderboards and such. Where am I going? One thing that we've also mentioned, maybe later down the road, and Scott kind of mentioned it a little bit, is we'd like to offer kind of you join a faction, and this is kind of part of the DAO, is creating another sort of revenue stream, and that would be kind of like not so much affiliate marketing, but some sort of fashion where say all members of Geoscapes get a chance or a discount at like travel, or tech heads get a discount at Best Buy of something sort of like that. And so those are the things that we have in mind for all these different factions. We allow them to get different discounts, and I think we've got a long list of we can go and where we can do, and so that's the part that I'll be working on, and getting those partnerships and things. So I think I covered it all. I know Scott's got all the technical details.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the core thing to take out of the factions is that there's Tech Edge is definitely the best, by the way. I mean, Cody's a Geoscape, so I don't know if you can take what he says seriously, but from that side, like, people will join factions for a plethora of reasons, and maybe it's because they're interested in the game and they want to get 10% strength, so they go Iron Bears, or maybe Iron Bears also has a discount or a stipend for a gym membership, and there's IRL stuff there that makes you want to join Iron Bears, or maybe you're interested in getting Best Buy discounts, so instead you join Tech Heads, even though you actually resonate more with Iron Bears. And the one thing that we've done is that you can't just keep switching between factions. So the factions, when you join one, you're stuck with it for 30 days. And you're stuck with it in the sense that it's a soul-bound token to your wallet. And at the contract level, you cannot, if you remove it, it gets burned, but you can't rejoin another faction for 30 days if you leave. So we really kind of made that so that, there's really like we want you to choose wisely, and we want you to really take part in the faction that you join in.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was going to ask what idea led to that decision. I'm glad you mentioned, being able to join another faction. How does that work with the Soulbound token specifically? If you join Geoscapes and you decide to leave, you still have a Soulbound Geoscape
so you get
your wallet, right?
Yeah, so the Soulbound really just means like it's non-transferable and non-sellable, right? So that's really the big I mean, there's maybe some other differences, but that's the big difference between, say, a regular NFT and then a Soulbound token that's an NFT. So it's like you can think of them like accreditations or badges as well. Or,
sure. Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So I guess let me be more specific. I'm familiar with Soulbound in a sense of, untradeable and listable. But if someone is leaving the faction, I'm just curious how that's going to operate on a technical.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. So we're the issuer. So we, as the contract owners, are the issuers and the revokers. And so when you claim a faction, we issue you a mint, or say, quote unquote, mint you the NFT to your wallet. And then when you revoke it, that's when we burn it on your behalf. So it's kind of we're doing both. So the soulbound token gets revoked, and then you're available, and you don't have that token to your wallet anymore. So it's not like you're stuck with the token forever. You can remove it, and then the only stipulation is that you can only join another faction after 30 days. So.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's more of like a frozen token that you guys maintain control over. Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Okay, so I'm curious too how the 30-day lockout window is still pretty punishing if you're active in a game. So I'm curious how the factions affecting game balancing. That seems like a weird dynamic, right? Because the factions are also going to have sounds like IRL utility, and then maybe their own sort of philosophies and politics within the faction. But then it's also a stat boost, right? So say the meta is intelligence, but you really just don't align with anything that the tech heads are interested in, or perks that you could receive for being there. Is that something you guys are kind of considering? Or I know it's a hard kind of thing to pin down and line to walk, but what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, so first and foremost, like the gameplay itself, and since it's on L2, and there are also upgradable contracts. So I did think about first of all, we're not going to get the balance correct on the first pass. So I mean, I don't think we will, no matter how many angles we look at it. But we'll be adjusting it per season, or maybe even mid-season if we have to, if it's like super unbalanced. So we're going to create. We're also going to create some normalizing factors, not necessarily pay-to-play stuff, but we'll create items like miscellaneous items that you can equip that may make up for things that you're missing for a particular season, for example. Or, for example, one aspect I also thought about was, a lot of people in the space, they buy NFTs, they might leave for a month, they're burnt out, or and then, will their level or XP not be high enough to participate anymore? So I thought about maybe ways of, items also boosting that side of things. So you can get like a temporary XP boost so you can get back into the game and stuff like that. Because we don't want to really exclude everyone. And ultimately, we want it to be more casual. Again, like I'm not the type to go 10 hours a day on gaming, and the platform we're building isn't going to be that. Like we want it to be accessible, and we want it to be fun, but also still very casual.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the factions themselves almost sound like a class in a traditional game, right? Where it's sort of you design out your character, but it's sort of predicated by what class you've chosen. So I think it's fair to say that any game is going to have balancing issues and people that want to jump ship. And usually in games, that's not something you can do. Some games, fortunately, you can, but in most, that's not the case. You're kind of locked into what you've chosen. So in that way, 30 days doesn't seem that bad, or maybe another revenue stream could be paying some money for a fast change or something like that. Okay, cool. So let me go over my notes here and see what I would like a little more clarification on really quick. Okay, it's kind of in the same vein. So the faction utility, how do you think utility that is sort of capped to certain groups will be received? Like, do you think that everyone will kind of understand and be on the same page there? Or do you think that people will feel gypped in that their faction isn't represented in the coolest utility or perks? Like, how do you balance that?
Yeah, so I think the way that we balance it is that when right now we haven't even talked about what the utility for each faction may be. We've kind of mentioned maybe it was like a gym membership kind of thing, or whatever, or gym gear, or like that you get discounts on. But we want we allowed people to join factions before we mention all that, just based on like the 2-sentence description that we gave, and whoever you thought you resonated with, like as a coder, like I was like, oh, tech heads, that's me. Cody, he liked Geoscapes, our artist. I think, did he go Iron Bears? He might have went Iron Bears. But like there wasn't any of that stuff mentioned before people joined. And as I said before, we want the faction to run itself in a way. So people in that community will get to pick what they want as their utility, and in the form of like a mini DAO. And so hopefully what happens is that people that join the faction, they come to a consensus, or near consensus on what they'd like to be able to have as their utility. It's a social experiment, so we'll see what happens. And we're really just the guardrails for them. Like, for example, we might make a partnership with four businesses that will give us discounts, and they're all in Iron Bears. And then we're going to say, hey, Iron Bears, these are the 4 discounts that are open to you. Go pick one, or pick 2, or let your leader pick one, or something, something along those lines. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. And then, forgive me, but I'm gonna pry a little bit. You mentioned the Bearz equipment, armor, weapons, face armor, miscellaneous items, and other things. Would you care to elaborate what other things might possibly be?
Well, I mean, I think I forgot eyewear in there as well, but miscellaneous could actually be a lot of things. It could be things just like accessories. That changes the art. All the equipable stuff will change the art, though, I think is a key factor. But then there's also going to be things that, say, if you're going questing, which we didn't talk about, that's another form of passive gameplay. But if you go questing, you can apply maybe, I don't know, a potion that we offer, and it's not actually going to be equipped. It's just something that you add to the quest itself, and those are other ERC 1155 items that you'll be able to use to enhance your game experience.
That is awesome. That is cool. I know. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to add, maybe since we're here. So the map, if you haven't noticed, there's a wasteland, and that we haven't really talked much about. So to maybe stir things up a bit, I'll give you a little bit of insight of what that's about. And so essentially, that we have this wasteland area, and once the Bearz are, I guess we're planning to have what we call crawlers, and this will be a separate drop. We have some art concepts already. These crawlers would almost be like something that you go out into the wasteland and you capture, and that would be kind of the lure. And then you can also use those to train and battle as well. I guess that's a little bit of insight on what the wasteland is. That's
the leaks.
Yeah, giving you guys the leaks.
These are our phase 2 plans, but yeah, that's we've mentioned the crawlers and the wastelands, and yeah, we actually love that aspect of the platform, which will come. We're really offering kind of like 2 main forms of gameplay. The passive battling Brawler Bear style, but then you can also, if you're a Pokemon master like Cody, you may want to go down the crawlers collection and training route.
That is incredible. I love that. I love the Alpha League.
I love
the Alpha League.
Open up another. Sorry. Go
You're good. It came crawling in on us. Love that. So I'm kind of looking through your notes from your previous AMAs and stuff, and looks like there's some good questions. There is one that I wanted to bring up. Kyle, if you're still around, do you love tacos?
I don't know.
Undecided on the tacos. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
Undecided, yep.
Wasn't the bigger debate was whether it was a sandwich or a hot dog? What was the debate? It was a hot dog or a sandwich?
Yeah, it was what is a hot dog? Is a hot dog a taco or a sandwich?
Oh yeah.
That's what we were debating. I think we ended up on sandwich.
Yeah, I think I'm in camp sandwich here. I think I lean sandwich. Well, cool. But yeah, I'm going through the documents, and I see the IP rights. It looks like you guys are adopting the Yuga model, so people can kind of monetize and do their own thing. I'm curious if that's something you guys are focusing on heavily, kind of weaponizing for your community, opportunities for them to potentially use their IP. It sounds like expansion packs and stuff like that coming to the game could do that, but I was curious if there are other things that you guys, it sounds like jewelry, merch, sounds like you guys have a lot of plans, but I was just curious, if some of the things you guys are most excited for on the IP front, and then kind of if you would ever consider doing a board game version of this. I know you guys all wanted to make board games, and this looks like it could translate well potentially.
Right. Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit. So yeah, I think as far as the merch, we're going with the baseline, logo that we kind of deemed as the logo of the brand. So that we're working on. So it's a little bit different than what the bear would be. I know that we've got some discussions that happen on how the board game is going to work. I've been reaching out to quite a bit of companies on the manufacturing side and understanding and quotes and things like that of making this come true. And so I think we even had a sneak Scott, if you want to dig that up for me and drop it, I think that'd be cool to show what those card games, what that the art looks like. I think Damien put a prototype up, and that's kind of what we've been using to share and give our idea. So we've been definitely working on the mechanics of the actual board game. And so, yeah, what my initial thought would be, once we, of course, the faction leaders, which have all been released, and you can see those. So those will be incorporated. Of course, there'll be some other one-of-ones kind of faction derivative ones that would be included in the game. What I'd like to do is some sort of raffle, or I'm not entirely sure how to approach it yet. What would be the best approach? But we want to give people a chance to get their bear in the game, and of course, I think we talked about it a little bit. And I think we got some deep diving more to talk about is how the IP and things work in that situation where we want to incorporate somebody's NFT in the game. But yeah, we definitely want to do that, and I think thanks Scott for dropping that. So that's kind of what that'll look like. The board game will be a battle-esque kind of game. And you'll have these cards, and they'll have stats and items that you attach and things like that. So we've been definitely working on the mechanics and working with some manufacturers to understand the cost and things like that and where we stand. So I hope I answered your question. I tend to ramble sometimes, and then I forget what you had asked.
No, yeah, you did. And I'm embarrassed. I didn't realize there was a board game component. I thought that I had a 400 IQ gigabrain idea. I missed that. Okay, so it sounds like there is going to be a physical board game that kind of goes with the brand.
Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I understand now. Yeah, the cards look beautiful too. These look really cool.
Yeah, I mean,
they were.
Oh, go ahead, Kenny.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say they look a lot better than my concept. I think I even posted my concept, and they're pretty bad. But Damien's an artist. I'm just for fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, all of this stuff is in due time, right? We're focusing on, we need to obviously have a good mint, sell out, though we could probably do it without selling out maybe as well, because, our team is pretty strong. But, building the brand takes a lot of time. Takes a lot of money potentially as well, and so we're setting up a lot of partnerships behind the scenes, like months and months ahead of time, like the merch partner, the board game manufacturer. Like we're having all these conversations because it can take 3 to 6 months to get deals done, and just the work for that on their side, not even our side, on their side to get it in place. So we know what the process takes because we're entrepreneurs. So we're starting with that, and we're not saying there's a delivery date on say the board game, but we want to have these things. So I guess I just want to make that pretty clear too. Because it does seem like when we've talked about this project with folks, there's like a lot going on, right? And so we just want to make it clear that we understand that too. So, but we're gonna prioritize things and complete things, and then on the side do these fun things like merch and board games and stuff that will build the brand.
Nice. I love that. That's honestly, that is a really sound idea and core sort of, place to start on your journey. I think potentially you might find the physicals, the board game expansion packs, those might be a deliverable that you could drive revenue as well through outside sources or within your in-game currency. I think people really love seeing, they get connected to their NFTs and they love seeing it represented. And I think having physicals for those would probably fetch a premium and be worth, grinding away and making your character look really epic and then ending up being, a legendary or something in a deck. I think that's crazy. That's awesome. Well, cool. We are coming up almost the top hour here. We've got a few minutes left. So I wanted to kick it open, Mike, to you guys. Is there anything that you think is really special or passionate, you're passionate about with this project that we didn't get to touch on here today? And if you want, kind of just go into that a little bit. You guys have done a very good job explaining the stuff. And like you said, it is a lot going on. It's a lot to unpack. But if you kind of want to just give us some leaving thoughts, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the thing I like the most about this project is I'm pushing a lot of boundaries on the tech side and novelty of the NFT and dynamic NFTs. So I've enjoyed, by the time we mint, we're going to have 10 contracts done. Whether it's the jeans and DNA contract that drives the on-chain metadata. There's a lot of cool algorithms in that I've got to play around with. So for me, like the most interesting, and I say this as like a tech head and also just as a coder, like the most interesting part of our project is I've taken a lot of the really cool ideas in the space. Like Kaiju Kings has augments, and there are other projects that do kind of swappable traits, but all of those are off-chain and they're not on-chain metadata, and ours is, which I think is going to be super novel. And then all the L1 to L2 stuff and saving people gas on the kind of the gaming side, I think is also very interesting. So I'd say that's been, that's why I really like this project and why I've enjoyed building it. I don't know about you, Cody.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely cool to see you do all the tech stuff. I mean, I'm an electrical engineer by degree, but I don't like any of that coding stuff, and so I tend to stay away. My background's in manufacturing and harness, schematics and development, things like that. And so I probably would say the board game is probably the thing I'm most excited about. The game aspect of it is definitely cool. I'm really excited about the crawlers that are coming, just because I am a Pokemon fan, and that's something that I love to do. And so I'm really excited about being able to offer some real life utility to our holders, and that's kind of what excites me about the project. I think aside from the art, that's what makes me really think that we're going to stand out, and it's nice because we're going to have a lot of thanks to Scott right on our team, and we're going to have a lot of the game and everything done at Mint, which is somewhat pretty rare in the space currently or lately. So yeah, that's about it for me.
Me personally, I'm really excited about this team. Like Scott, Cody, and Damon, they're all like really great. NFT DJs for a long time. You really know what they're doing. Hold on 1 second. So yeah, I'm really bullish on the team. They're really great, especially with a lot of the dev teams, bugging people or just not being competent. These guys know what they're doing. And also there's more staff behind the scenes that are pulling the collabs, that are doing a great job. So I think like really, really good things are coming from these guys, and they're definitely a team to keep an eye on.
Yeah. To Kyle's point real quick, I don't know if it's your wife or your significant other, Kyle, but she actually is doing some part-time engineering work for us, and we're building out the dev team. So one thing I learned from my previous project is we need to scale out our resources. And so we've actually been building the team pretty quickly here. I think we are at like 12 to 15 now. And Kyle's wife is one of them. And so I'm happy to have her on the team too. She actually built the whitelist checker that we have. So if you're on whitelist and you want to check if you're on it, she built that. So that was cool.
Yeah, if you guys won whitelist from the raffle, please use the whitelist checker and let me know if it's good so I can tell my wife. She's really proud of it. It's the first thing that she published, so she's like over the moon about it,
Awesome. That's
it's really like, so NFTs like definitely allowed her to go to school. Like she was able to quit her job, and I was able to pay for her school from NFTs, and now she's creating stuff for NFTs. So it's really like full circle. It's pretty rad. So like I was saying, man, this team is really great. And you guys should watch out.
Yeah, I can tell from this talk. I definitely agree with you. I don't know if I got whitelist or not, but I'll definitely use that whitelist checker. And I can tell, your guys' technical chops are impressive, and I love all of this, talk about the novel mechanics and stuff like that. And and then Kyle's partner is on the team as well. I mean, we're talking about a stacked team, all right? So I can definitely sense that. Well, cool. I appreciate you guys taking the time to come through and tell us. Just if you want, we can do like a quick elevator pitch. If one of you wants to try, you don't have to. If one of you wants to try just to like nail down the project in like 20 seconds, we'll make some nice clips for socials to kind of blast out there for you guys. So if you could, just the essence of the project, explosions, energy, punch me right in the face. Let's if you want to. No pressure.
Scott, you got this.
Is that on me or haven't you been preparing for this, Cody?
I did not prepare for that.
It's an elevator pitch. All right, I got this. Here it goes. Wait, when is Mint coming?
September 16th.
Coming September 16th, the dynamic on-chain PvP arena battler with novel contract mechanics. We have factions. Each has its own mini DAO with utility based on those factions. Who will you choose when you enter the underground?
Oh
Ride or
man.
die.
Okay.
Good.
How much do we do? How much in royalties do we need to pay to you to steal that?
One whitelist spot.
Oh, guaranteed. Deal.
Pleasure
good.
doing business with you. Love it.
Mint pass. Do we got
I
one of
think-
those
I think-
laying
I
around
think-
for him?
I was gonna say I think that might deserve an airdrop access pass. We didn't even talk about those. Those get you a free mint. Yeah, so we can get you an airdrop for that pitch. We're gonna
Let's
steal
go. Live performance. You heard it here, folks.
it.
One more pitch really quick on the mint passes that are already available. They get you into a bunch of alpha mirroring, a private node, and also giveaways. So they're not a bad pickup right now.
Private node, you say?
Right?
Yep.
Scott?
Yeah, it's a private dedicated node, alchemy node. It's not at the level of like a trippy node, but it will suffice for a majority of your needs. And for the small cost of the pass, you can get access to that.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Well, okay, let's go ahead and wrap it up with a quick call to action here. Let the people know how they can get involved. If it's too late for whitelist, how they can get engaged with the community, aside, of course, from doing a 20-second dramatic elevator pitch.
Yeah, I'll start. So yeah, you can check us out at brawlerbears.club. Of course, our Twitter's, I believe our Twitter's Brawler Bears as well. I'm getting pretty bad. Yeah, at Brawler Bears. What else? What am I missing, Scott?
Also, if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to ping me. I'm in here every day. So
How's the whitelist looking? Is it all settled and set in stone?
Whitelist. We are getting close to the end. I think in today's market, we need to over allocate, and we are. We are getting close to the end. I think we're taking some big collabs if they're due, but some of the smaller ones we've started to shut down, and we're getting close. I think towards the end of this week, I think we're done with whitelist.
Gotcha. Good deal. And then one more time, just really quick, mint details, price, mint day. Let us know what's happening.
Yeah. So mint is September 16th. The mint price is 0.06 ETH. And we'll have a whitelist phase, and that'll go into public phase. And then the last portion of that would be our pass phase. And so, as we mentioned, holding a pass will get you a free claim for a bear. So that's probably your best session. I think the floor is at 0.2 or so or 0.02 with the pass. But I will mention this right before we close. One little unique thing that you'll see with the pass is there's some are burning. So if you list your pass below 0.1, we will burn them. I mean, these were all airdropped to everybody. We had a sign up and whitelist kind of raffle thing for that as well, pre-mint, and we airdropped 2,000 plus passes to people. And so if you list them below 0.1, we'll burn them. And so you'll see an open sea that some are burning, some are not. I think it's broken sea for not making that work nicely. But yeah, that's about the pass.
And that's 0.1 Ethereum.
0.1 Ethereum, right?
So
know your worth. I love it.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's where we're setting the floor where we think we're worth, and we're still setting our mint price where we think people can do some flipping. Oh, one other thing to note about the whitelist mint, actually, real quick, you actually get a special item. There's a little chance game that you get to play when you whitelist mint. When you actually do a paid mint, you get to do this. You have there's 4 items that you may get between a super rare, a rare, an uncommon, and a common. And I'll leave it at that. So you actually end up getting 2 NFTs for the price of 1 if you whitelist mint.
That is kick ass. I love that. That's cool. Well, awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, again for coming together to take some time and walk us through everything. Maybe we can have you back post mint, perhaps, and we can talk underground and battle pass and seasons and stuff. How does that sound?
That would be
Hell
perfect.
yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. Been a pleasure. Been a pleasure. Good luck on the project, fellas. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank
No,
you.
Have a
thank
great
you.
weekend.